Going on, Falcon fan? This your boy Rakundo coming back at you with another video. So today we're gonna ask the question: do you see and do you agree that the Falcons are going in the right direction? And can you actually see that plan and that vision going into year 3? So guys, before we get into that question of today, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit like button so I know you guys out here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So guys, like I said, before we get into the question of today, first off, I want to talk about the Falcons actually invited 2 more XFL players to the rookie minicamp next week. Tight end Cam Sutton and offensive lineman Barry Wesley, as you were. Barry Wesley. So both of those guys added, along with Kevin Atkins and Lucas Dennis, the other 2 guys that added that I mentioned yesterday. So that's awesome. Start a new league, XFL, another pro league that's out there. And these guys some of these guys was already in NFL, kind of got put to the back burner. They come out, put themselves back out there, and the Atlanta Falcons pro scout team is going out and finding those guys. So Terry Fontenot, just like he said, they're going to look everywhere to try to make this team better, and bringing these guys in to rookie minicamp, bring invites, see what they got. Maybe they can actually, make that 90-man training camp roster. They can go in and compete, and try to earn a spot on the back end of the roster. So you love to see things like that, and you just love the way they just keep turning over this roster as many times they can to make sure they put the best product on the field, going into this year, 2023, year 3 for the Atlanta Falcons. The next thing I want to say, I just want to say congratulations to all the Georgia Bulldogs that was drafted this past season, this last draft. Of course, being a Georgia Bulldog fans, so many other Georgia Bulldog fans try to tie the Atlanta Falcons to the Bulldogs, get upset when the Atlanta Falcons do not draft Bulldogs. But you can actually be a fan of the Bulldogs and, get behind Atlanta Falcons when they don't draft your fellow Bulldogs as well. But we want to wish all those guys luck. Hopefully they all have a good career in the NFL. But we're starting with Jalen Carter, of course, where him and Bijan going to be tied probably forever. Nolan Smith. You got Broderick Jones. You got Darnell Washington, Keely Ringo, Stetson Bennett, Chris Smith, Robert Beal, Warren McClendon, and Kenny McIntosh. So congratulations to all those guys. Let's go out there and represent the Bulldog University of Georgia like you should. We know you guys are champions, but all you guys 2-time national champions. So let's go out and represent the Bulldogs. Hope you all have a good career, and we're gonna be rooting for you guys, except when you play the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm just gonna how to say that. But hope you guys have good careers and long lasting. All right, so let's get into the question of the day. The question of the day is: are the Falcons headed in the right direction? And can you see their plan, their vision, here coming in year 3? Right. So, first of all, I've talked about this, so many times about team building and things like that. But when you building a team for any franchise, and Arthur Blank, when you're making decisions on who's going to be your general manager, who's going to be your head coach, these guys got to come in with a plan, right? And what they see, they have to assess the team and see where they think about the team. But you got to have a layout of what you're trying to do when you're trying to do team building. And it's going to be some things that you just got to go down the list, right? And real quick, I'm going to talk about how the Falcons, this regime kind of did that. And let me know what you think, guys. And can you see the way I see it? And maybe we see it differently. But, it always says more than one way to skin a cat. So everybody won't agree with the vision of the plan. But you got to let it play out, right? And that's what these guys are doing. And they're in year 3. And I think this is where you can kind of start seeing it in fruition. The first 2 seasons, was part of the plan as well. You might just couldn't see it because the Falcons had to do what they had to do, but at the same time, the plan, I think, was been started since day one. All right, so the first thing you think about is the cap, right? We always talk about the salary cap, and we know we won't have to go back and revisit the cap situation that the Falcons, this regime, came into, especially in the COVID year and things like that. But the first thing they had to look at the cap, how you're going to maneuver the cap, get back into good cap health for your franchise to build this team moving forward, right? Because it's not only about today, it's for tomorrow as well. So that's the first thing they had to do. They had to make sure they fixed the cap. So one check off for this regime, the front office and the coaching staff, right? We think they fixed the cap. We talked about that. The cap is good. It's in good standing. They still got money on the cap space right now, and they should have good cap space going into next year. So check one for the cap. So you can see the plan for that has been adjusted, and you can see the Falcons have a good, clean cap. All right, the next thing they're going to have to do, probably when they came in and they talked to the owner, they had to establish a time frame, how long it's going to take to get this team to where it's going to be, right? So if you're looking at it, like first 2 seasons was the cap, right? So this third season, that's why I say year 3 here. I think this third season is where you can start to see if their plan and their vision is working, right? Because the first 2 seasons was all about the cap, trying to fix the cap, making sure the cap get clean and stuff like that. They did that. This third season, now we can actually see, can you actually see that plan, their vision, that time frame? So a lot of people saying that Arthur Smith is on the hot seat. I really disagree with that wholeheartedly because, like I said, he had to have established a time frame with the owner coming in. Hey, this is the plan. This is what we're gonna do, right? And you got to actually stick to that time frame. Now, I can say this, when you're talking about the cap and talking about the time frame, is that last year when they decided to go after Deshaun Watson, I think they kind of got off their plan, their vision a little bit. We don't know if that was the owner, that was the front office, whoever decided to do that. But by going to get Deshaun Watson, I think that would have kind of messed up their whole plan and their vision that they had initially when they was coming into this organization. But that didn't happen. You can see the plan got back on track, and we can see how it's starting to roll. Like I said, the cap is clean. Look at the time frame. So year 3. So if they had a talk with Rich McKay and Arthur Blank, they probably said, "Hey, give us 2 years to fix the cap, and then this third year we're going to be able to kind of see where we're at, right?" And then they can start assess. Now I think you can start judging Arthur Smith to the fullest and see what kind of coach he really is, right? Even though you kind of get an idea about that already. The next name I think is going to be culture. You start that from day one. So, of course, Arthur Smith had to come out and he had to create a culture for this team. He came out and said, guys, that privilege and things like that. He was going to get rid of that kind of mentality. One culture that I think the Atlanta Falcons, we really had to get with the stigma of just being a losing franchise for so many years. Just to let down for the fan base a lot. We all love our Falcons, but we always had that gut feeling, and when we watching games and like, oh, here we go, right? So that's one thing. You have to change your mindset when you building a different culture. Come in and have a winning mindset. Has Arthur Smith done that? I could say the first 2 seasons, what he had to work with, come out trying to win every game. It looks like that. Probably could get a more determination from the players and what they think about it from inside the organization and things like that. From outside looking in, though, being a fan of the team, watching them for the last 2 years, I say that he has kind of changed the culture around, and that's a good thing, right? So changing the mindset, bringing in a different culture to this team, just get rid of the losing mentality is one of the things that I think they really had to do. So I can see that plan of the culture is working. You can see the vision and the plan for that as well. The next thing they probably had to do was set goals, right? You had to kind of set a goal. And this part of the culture as well. win as many games you can in these first 2 seasons. Try to go out and win every game you can, no matter what the circumstance is, no matter how talented the roster is. Go out and try to win each game, right? Establish that identity, the identity you want to play with. Now everybody looking at Atlanta Falcons, went away from that high-powered passing offense to a trenches offense, running the ball a lot, trying to be physical in the line of scrimmage, in run games. I think they have established the identity, especially look at what happened last year. So those are goals you got to kind of set. Of course, trying to make it to the playoffs, trying to win the division, those kind of goals. Of course, you set all those goals, but you had to have goals in place, and that's what you come in at each season. Each team comes out and they set the goals where they're playing, what they're trying to establish and trying to get to at the end of the season. So pretty sure they set goals in year 1 and year 2, and they will do the same here in year 3, which the goals should be totally different in this year, in my opinion. All right, after you do that, then you gotta look at the results, right? So you had your money, your cap situation, the time frame, the culture, your goals, and then you're gonna go out and you're gonna make sure and look at the results and see actually did everything work like you thought it was going to work, right? You're going to assess your plan and vision. See, do you need to make changes? Do you need to make tweaks to it? What did you learn and things like that? So you go out and you assess and see, hey, do I need to change this vision a little bit? Do I need to change this plan? Are we on track to what we kind of thought that we was going to be on? Like I said, on the outside looking in, I'm not in the room with these guys and in the building with them, but from what outside looking in, it seems like they are on track. So from right now, they need to just continue with the plan and see how it's going to work, right? You're going to create the consistency. That's what you're trying to create when you're team building. What I mean by that is year in and year out, everybody, to the fan base, to the team, to your opponents, to know what kind of team the Atlanta Falcons are going to be putting out on the field, what they expect when you come to play the Atlanta Falcons day in and day out. That's what you're trying to create, consistency. You're going to be able to create a winning culture, a team that when they don't make the playoff, everybody's going to be surprised, right? That's what you're trying to create in team building, and with that culture and changing the mindset in your organization, right? And then the last thing is you have to be disciplined with your vision and your plan. And I think that, like I said last year, they might have gotten a little undisciplined when they was going to try to go after Deshaun Watson. They was really disciplined this year. Everybody, the Lamar Jackson things was out there, things like that. They can have their convictions on how they manage the draft, because you look at the things they do in the draft is unconventional to the pundits out there and how people think they should build this team, but these are the guys building the Atlanta Falcons, so they stuck with their convictions. I mean, going out and get 3 great players, maybe not the players that people thought they should draft in those positions and spots and things like that, but you can't deny the talent of the players that they drafted and the value and things like that. Like I said, that's on the back end. We'll see how it works in the long run, right? But going out to get Kyle, tight end, never had been drafted that high, at number 4 overall, going out to get Kyle Pitts. Last year, I think everybody expected them to get Drake London, so that was really not a surprise. But this year, definitely, turning heads, going out and getting a running back at number 8. But we all talked about, Bijan, and is he definitely a more than a running back? The impact that he can have for the team. This their conviction, this their plan, this their discipline. Going best player available, just the way they felt it. Despite what everybody was saying, they have to be disciplined. And the point is, do you respect their vision and their plan? And that's what you got. That's what you have to determine. The good thing about sports, and that's why I love sports so much, especially the National Football League and these Atlanta Falcons, is that no matter what people say and things like that, it all is going to play out on the field at end, right? So people go out and like last year, people came out and said the Atlanta Falcons was going to only win 2 games, right? But the Falcons got to go out there. Their opponents got to come match up with them. And despite what everybody thinks and all the projection, all the analytics, and all the great players on other teams and things like that, the coaching staff got to put the game plan in. The players got to execute the game plan, and then you got to try to go out and win the game, right? So it don't matter, what people think. No matter what direction this franchise decide to go, or another franchise decide to go. In the end, it's going to be down to the results on the field and your win-loss record. And in the end, that's what happens with coaches and regimes and things and changes. Because even though you had your plan, you thought it was good, and it didn't work out for you. I mean, look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Just won the championship 2 years ago, and they just fired their head coach because the number 1 seed, who had the best record in the NBA, got put out by the number 8 seed, right? So sports is all about winning and losing. It's all about seeing if maybe you're losing your team's your voice is being lost in the locker room, or something like that, or nobody believes in your vision no more, your plan. Everybody is not in agreement when you're starting to draft players or bringing in free agents, things like that. People don't believe that the coach is really calling good plays, or can't do what he hired to do. Like in the case of Dan Quinn, defensive guy can't get the defense to work like it needs to work. Can't understand situational football, and that's how it goes off the rails. And at the end, the owner have to make a decision. Did he agree with your plan or your vision? And that's what it boils down to. But for these Atlanta Falcons, going into year 3, I think they are right on track. And this is my opinion, of course. I'm not in the Falcons organization, knowing exactly what they're thinking and things like that. But at the same time, I believe that if you're just on the outside looking in, you've seen what this team has built. Like I said, want to build from the inside in, especially from the line of scrimmage. And really, this is the first year you can actually see what they wanted to do. Like I said, in the first 2 years, they was not able to actually build anything. They just had to make a team, and put them out on the field. And Arthur Smith, I thought, did a great job making those 2 teams be competitive and try to make it to the playoffs. Both seasons, in December, the Atlanta Falcons was still in a playoff hunt. Small chance of getting in, I know, but at the same time, both years, the Atlanta Falcons definitely had an opportunity to win and get into the playoffs, right? Once you get into the tournament, you never know what's going to happen. So that's what you can say about this organization and these first 2 seasons. But this is the year that the Atlanta Falcons have to start showing, the fruits of the labor. The fan base been waiting since 2017 to get back in the playoffs. This is really, really a great opportunity for this regime, this coaching staff, to to show that all the work they put in the last 2 seasons is definitely going to pay off. We talked about how much money they spent this season, how many free agents they brought in. Like, talked about the draft, their convictions, going out who they want to draft, believing in their guys, believing in the culture, trying to establish that. All the things that is going to transpire this 2023 season it was, in my opinion, was a 3-year process. And this is where we should start to see some of that work pay off for these guys. So once again, if you go back to my live and I said why we should be excited about this season, this is where we're at. We're in year 3. The vision, the plan, the team building, this all has been put in place for this Atlanta Falcons team to actually just do what they do. So I can't wait. Once again, I'm excited, just like you guys are excited, but I really want to hear you guys' opinion, what you think about that question. And the question again, one more time, are the Falcons headed in the right direction in year 3? And do you see their vision, their plan going forward? And guys, let me know. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.